Hi everybody and happy Easter. Welcome again to Karen's Craft Corner. And today we're going to be making a couple of Easter decorations or Easter crafts. The first one is this. And see, it looks like a little egg, and then we pop it open and look, there's a chick coming out of it. So that's what we're going to make first today. So we're going to get started on this. What you're going to need is a piece of foam, a piece of felt. Any color will do. So if you can find a piece of felt, and you're going to need some construction paper. Yellow would be good for this one. You could use another color too, but yellow would be best. You're going to need some scissors, a glue stick or some glue, and hopefully you all have one of these at your home, which would be a clothes peg, a type of clothes peg. And that's all we need for the very first one. So the first thing you're going to do is going to take your piece of felt, and you can just measure off a little bit of a square.
All right.
Okay, this doesn't have to be exact, but just to give you an idea, it's about 4 centimeters by 5 centimeters. So just measure off approximately I just make it a little mark, 4 long, and then 5 this way. And I'm just drawing it down here, just to give you some idea so that we have the right size. I'll just take my scissors. I'm just going to cut this. So you're going to have a piece of felt that looks approximately like this. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to round off the corners. So the bottom a little bit like this. Oops. And like so. And the top maybe a little bit more. We're going for a bit of an oval look. We're actually going for the look of an egg. We're kind of trying to do an egg shape. So about like that. And that's perfect. It's not perfect, but that's fine for this. Then what you want to do is take your pen or your marker, whatever you have, and you're going to go do a crisscross pattern or an up and down pattern on here, about the center of it. And it's better if you draw it than just try to cut it, because it doesn't work quite so good that way. So draw it on. So this is what we want now. We want it to look like this. And then you take your scissors and you cut along the line that you made. You have these two pieces and your clothes peg. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue it onto the clothes peg. So just put a little bit of glue along here. All right, like that. And then put the bottom on about like that. And the top can go here. Make sure they kind of line up on there. And then we're just going to press down really good. Okay, so now we're going to have our yellow piece of paper or whatever color you want, but it's supposed to be a little chick, so yellow or orange is best colors. So you just want to cut a very small piece like that, very tiny. Whoops, and make sure it doesn't fall down. All right, so you got this, and you just want to round the top off to make a little round head. The bottom can stay square, so we're going to go around the top, sort of like you did with the egg. Just like this, nothing, can you see that? Nothing fancy, all right? And now you can look it down here. We're gonna put a face on it. So we'll use I use black felt for the eyes. And you guys are good at this, you can do whatever you want. So black felt maybe. I think I'll do some little eyebrows. And then I'm gonna use orange and make a little beak. You can get as fancy as you want. Okay, so there's our little chick. All right, you see that? Nothing fancy. So now we're going to take our clothes peg and we're going to lay it down so that the felt is down below, and this is where you have so you got the opposite side. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of your chick. And open it up and just glue it to the bottom part. How we have it, so we have our egg on here, and now how it is when you open it up, what do you find is your little chick. When you crack open your egg, there's your baby chick coming out of the egg. And that's it. Go. This is our second craft today, also an Easter craft, but this one tells more the story
of what Easter really is about. Baby chicks and Easter bunnies are great. To me, they represent more spring, but Easter is all about what Jesus did for us on the cross. So this is like an Easter egg, but when we open this one, what we find inside is a cross, and on the cross is a heart, because that's why Jesus did that for us. He died for us because he loved us so much. So this is what we're going to be making now. So you're going to need 2 paper plates. They can be big or small. We only had small ones in the house, and they can be any color. So you need 2 paper plates, and then you're going to need a little bit of construction paper for the cross, the heart, and then for the egg. I chose black for the cross, but you can choose any color you want. And so we're just going to cut out a basic cross. I've cut out my cross. I used a ruler to go along the edges. You don't have to, but I'm not very good at cutting it out otherwise. So there's my cross. And then I'm going to make the little heart that you can see in the center here. I just pick a nice bright color to go onto the black so it really shows up. I find the easiest way to do a heart is to do it on when you have a piece of paper and you can fold it. And then that way you just have to cut half of a heart, and then it's going to match nicely. You don't have to worry then so much about getting it just even. See, if you do it on the fold and then you open up, then you've got your heart. So you just have to take a glue stick and put a little bit on your heart, and then glue it to the center of your cross. And that's just going to let you know that Jesus died for you because he loved you. So then what you do is you take one of your paper plates, and we are just going to glue it onto the center of the paper plate like this. So just use your glue stick and glue it down in the middle. Oh, right down the center. So we've got that part done now. Now the next part is to cut out an egg shape. Big enough for your plate. So if you've got the big plates, if you've got a big paper plate, you can make a much bigger egg for it. So I just got my construction paper out here. If you have something oval to trace, you can do that. I couldn't find anything that shape, so I just do the best I can. So we just kind of draw an oval and cut it. You're going to decorate it. And this part you can decorate it any way you want. You can use felts, you can use stickers, paints, crayons, whatever you want. So you just do any kind of a pattern you want. Each one can look a little different. I'm just using my different felt pens here. Lots of bright ones. I'm doing squiggles and swirlies. Whatever you want. Maybe I'll do some hearts. You guys just use your imagination for this part. Just even some lines like this that kind of look a little bit like waves. Let's see. Maybe I can do some sort of figure 8 looking things. Kind of looks like a chain. Whatever you want. There you go. Do that in the center of your other plate. So just use your glue stick. If you guys make any of these crafts, it'd be great if you could show it to us on when we're doing the Zoom or just on Facebook. Put them on there. I'd love to see them. These are probably going to be a lot nicer than mine does. All right. So we have it on there. Now the next thing you need to do is you need a pair of scissors. Take your scissors again, and you're going to cut right down the center. If you need to draw a line, you can, or as long as it's just pretty much in the center, okay? So here we go. Right through the plate and right through the center of your egg. All the way through. And then you're going to place those on your plate. Now when you do this, you want to make sure that you have it centered over your cross, because when we open it, we want it to show the cross. If you do it like this, it's not really going to come out. So make sure you're centering it right in the middle of where the cross is. Now the last thing you're going to need, and I'm not sure if you're all going to have these at home, is you need these little, they have different names. Some people call them brads. These are called paper fasteners, but they look like this. They almost look like little nails, but the ends you can split them. So hopefully you do have these around your house. If not, I don't know if you could use something like a paper clip and twist it. Maybe your mom or dad can help you. Anyway, what you want to do is on the bottom of the top of the plate, we need to make a hole on each side to put the brad through. If you have a hole punch, that would work perfect. Just a hole punch on each side. I don't have a hole punch. I just use my sharp needles, my sharp scissors. So you might need to get some help from somebody older for this, or your parents, or an older brother or sister. And just very carefully put a hole through the one side, and then you take this and you stick it through and flip it over, and then you just have to, let me see how you do that, so that'll hold it in place. And then the other side you do, make sure your plate is lined up nicely to it, very carefully with your sharp scissors. Put a little hole like this. See that little hole? You take one of these and you slide it in there, then turn it over, and then you just have to bend the two sides back, and that'll hold them in place. And now you have this, the Easter story, and there, that's why we have Easter. Hi everyone, we're here again for our creature feature this week, and for this week we are going to be featuring dogs. And Hope and Blaze are two of our pets that you know better than any of our other pets, because we brought them to Kids Zone quite often. This is Blaze. Blaze is 1 year old. Hope is outside, and we're going to have her in a little later, and she's 2. Hope is a purebred Australian Shepherd, which just means that both her mom and her dad were Australian Shepherds. Woo, Gesundheit. Blaze is Australian Shepherd, Border Collie, and Heeler mix. And I just found out recently that's called a Texas Heeler. Both these dogs, or both those types of dogs, are working dogs. They're used for herding cattle or sheep, and so they have a lot of energy and a lot of stamina, which means like they don't tire out. They work very, very hard. They're very, very smart dogs. So for that, it's awesome, and they're good for things like agility. The one thing about them though is that because they're so active, you have to make sure that they get lots of exercise. If you don't exercise these dogs enough and keep them busy, keep their minds busy, keep them thinking, then they get bored, and then they start getting into trouble. They'll dig holes. This one, even with all the exercise she gets, loves to dig holes, and lots of big holes down in our backyard. Hopefully she'll grow out of that. Some of them can get very noisy and bark a lot. The other problem you can get with these kind of dogs that herd, if you don't train them up properly, is that they will nip at people, because that's how they'll do it to go after the cattle or the sheep, especially the Australian Shepherds. They run behind them and they'll bite at their heels and bark. So Hope will do that. Not with people, but she will do that with other dogs. So Danielle has to keep an eye on that with her. Usually if we bring a ball and throw it, then she loves to chase her ball, and then she's okay. With the Texas Heeler, I found out they don't bark at the animals. They'll just run after them, and they'll also nip if that's what they need to do. So we find that Blaze is much quieter than Hope. Hope doesn't bark for no reason, but when she gets really excited, like doing agility, or when she's chasing after other dogs, like with Blaze, she can really get barking sometimes. So that's just something that comes naturally to her. So with these guys, we try to get them out twice a day. We live in Canoe, so it's good out here. We've got the dog beach where they can run and swim. They both like to swim. We've got the ballpark, so when there's no baseball games going on, we can take them to the ballpark, and Hope loves to chase a ball. Blaze, we just trying to get her into something, and we found out that she might enjoy chasing a frisbee. She loves to chase birds and butterflies, things that sort of flutter. So we're trying to see if maybe a frisbee might be something that she'll like. We also do the trails around here a lot, and they absolutely love that. They could just go for hours and hours and hours. We feed them twice a day. Danielle has to brush her dog more often because Hope has that long fur, and in fact, just recently Danielle gave her a nice haircut and brushed her all out. Usually she takes her to a groomer's, but because we are during the COVID time, we don't want to take the dogs anywhere. We don't want to go into town if we don't have to, so Danielle did it herself. I don't have to this one's got the short hair, that's from the healer. So she just needs to be brushed, which she really, really enjoys. As you can see, she's very cuddly.
It's a big baby.
Hope is not as cuddly. She's friendly, she likes to be pet, but Blaze loves this kind of thing. Blaze loves it if you pick her up and you hold her. She just, she's just really into that, and she just gets really cuddly, which is kind of nice, so that way she's a little bit on the hyper side. She chases the cats, but the cats don't actually mind her because they seem to know she's just playing, so they usually put up with her okay. Whereas if Hope comes in here, they're very nervous because Hope wants to herd them, so she's very, very, what's the word, Danielle?
Intense?
Very intense, and it makes them nervous. So it's kind of interesting to see the difference. Yeah, and that's it.
So I put together some video clips we have of our dogs, Hope and Blaze, doing agility and fitness and obedience training, so you guys can watch them later. We love to do it with our dogs. It's kind of like a sport, get lots of exercise running along beside them. We do fitness with them too. It's kind of like dog yoga. If you're in sports, then it's kind of important to stretch beforehand so you don't hurt yourself. So for the dogs, it's important for them to practice with their bodies too. And it also teaches them how to move their back end, because some dogs forget they have a back end, so they're not really good on the teeny tiny ladders and teeter-totters. They're liable to fall down if they don't get the practice in. And our dogs love to do the work.
Here we go now. Come on, come on. Let's go. As you trust in God with all your heart, He will see you through. He will never part. His plans for you are good, and it all begins when we let go. Let's go, let's go. 3, 2, here we go. Jump, jump to the arms wide open. Your love is deeper than the ocean. Jump, jump, 'cause you never change. Your love for me will always stay the same. Jump, jump to the arms wide open. Your love is deeper than the ocean. Jump, jump, 'cause you never change. Your love for me will always stay the same. Let's go, let's go. As you trust in God each and every day, He will see you through, help you find your way. He is always good and He stays the same. He will never leave and He knows your name. 3, 2, everybody jump! Jump, jump to the arms wide open. Your love is deeper than the ocean. Jump, jump, 'cause you never change. Your love for me will always stay the same. Jump, jump to the arms wide open. Your love is deeper than the ocean. Jump, jump, 'cause you never change. Your love for me will always stay the same. Jump, jump, deeper, jump, 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 just higher, jump, 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 just stronger, jump, jump, jump. Everybody now, jump, just deeper, jump, jump, just higher, jump, jump, just stronger, jump, 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 jump to the arms wide open. Your love is deeper than the ocean. Jump, jump, 'cause you never change. Your love for me will always stay the same. Jump, jump to the arms wide open. Your love is deeper than the ocean. Jump, jump, 'cause you never change. Your love for me will always stay the same. Jump, jump.
Gus, again? Oh, Gus.